Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for coming in. Thank you all for waiting. Through most live streams in the past, sometimes it takes a few minutes to start up, you know, having conversations with the guest beforehand. This happens sometimes with live streams. So again, I thank you for your patience, and yeah, let's go ahead and start. So yeah, as you guys could see from the title, this is kind of just to discuss, looking ahead into 2025 with the recent inauguration, new presidency. There's going to be a lot of changes. Probably see ups and downs, just like every start of every presidency, especially the first year. But I try to remain optimistic and see where the future goes. Before we go more into that, we have two really great guests that you all have seen. At least those of you that are more have been on the channel for more than a few years are familiar with Ramo and Juan. Arid American, how you guys doing? We'll start with you, Juan. You doing good?
Yeah, doing good. I had a huge panic attack because I thought the TikTok ban was going to completely fuck me, because I have invested a lot of time into the app, and I got like 11,000 followers, and I started like making some money. Like December, I made like $25, and then this month I got like a check for like $100, and this is the first time I started making like some little cash with the content creation. I was like, dude, like they're really about to fuck me right when I started making some fucking money on here, but well, we'll see what happens. I mean, obviously it's still alive. It was only banned for a few hours, and then I feel bad for the people that deleted the app off their phones. I didn't, because I thought something would happen, or I was just going to try to do the VPNs. Although when it was banned, I tried VPNing the shit, but it didn't work. But that's pretty much it. I've just been, because of the ban, I started like spreading everywhere else. Like I have a YouTube. It's also called Arid American, where I like dump most of my TikTok videos, and it's grown some now. But that's what I've just been trying to do, is like diversify, because you don't know, like the future of that app is really uncertain. And unfortunately, a lot of us have a lot of stuff invested in that app.
Yeah, definitely. I look forward to talking more about that with you, Juan. So thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you're doing well. Ramo, hope you've been doing good too, my friend.
Yeah, life's been great for me. Just focusing on my career and my investments here and there. Yeah, just adapting to a new political environment as always, whether it's the left or the right. Like is what I tell everybody. You got to adapt to the political environment, that whether it's a new president you might like, might dislike. It's just about adaptability. You can complain, you can sit back and complain, or you can just step forward and try to adapt to the situation.
Yeah, that's true. Being resilient, understanding that, sometimes life can be insurmountable, but, we have to move ahead, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it requires us to, work together. It's never want to be alone. So, yeah, just knowing that you have friends and those people there that want to motivate you and continue to see you do well in life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm optimistic for the future. I think that life will get better, especially over the past decade, since COVID, since other issues in the world. As we all know, there's global conflicts. There's a lot of problems, but I think that within time, the overall global community will start to realize the importance of life, and the fact that the world, there are many parts of the world that are suffering. So I think that with the advancement of technology, with the progress of communities and organizations and outreach, there can be a lot of better things to look forward to in the world ahead. And yeah, definitely. Juan, are you pretty optimistic about the future? How do you feel, man? Like, because it's interesting from your case, because you're in the military. You look at life from a different view than where I am, right? Like a Midwest guy. Both our experiences are different. So yeah, did you feel pretty good? Do issues around the world worry you, or?
They do. I just don't know if like Europe's going to explode into a bigger war with the Ukraine stuff. I don't keep up to date with everything. I just kind of in general, I keep up to date with like some of the news, but it's not that I'm watching it all the time. I am in the military. I only have 5 months left, and then I'll be done in the reserves. But I still book because you have the IRR, like the individual ready reserve. So if something really horrible popped off, like you can still get pulled from that list. Your name's still on the list. You might not be training for the 2 years that you're on the list, but you can still get called back up. So I hope nothing happens that would necessitate that. I mean, the two hotspots people talk about is like the Ukraine thing and the Taiwan issue. So I hope nothing explodes there. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. A lot of people have thought that would have already popped off by now, but it hasn't. So I hope that it just continues to stay more controlled to where not, at least the United States doesn't have to be involved with it, directly, but other than that, I hope that the economy does recover, get better, especially when it comes to like people being able to afford houses and like interest rates going down and things like that. So I hope that betters. I mean, we're definitely in a better position, I think, than when we were suffering through COVID, I think. So.
Yeah, definitely. You bring up a good point about like the economy, and something that I noticed from a lot of other influencers, which I can agree with, but like people saying, oh, you need to have families, have kids and whatnot, do that. But right now, like houses are very expensive. Food's really expensive. Gas is expensive. So as much as we want to make that next step into our lives, it can be hard. So that's why I do want to remain optimistic that the economy will do better. Prices will go down. So then it's easier to stabilize your life, your focus on one day having kids, having a family, having a house, being more successful. And yeah, I hope the other parts of the world that are a little bit more crazy will understand, like, hey, Juan's got 5 months left. Just wait it out. Let Juan finish up. No kidding. But yeah, that is definitely worrisome because I don't know what the end in sight would be with Ukraine and Russia in deals. Because if we all, I mean, from what the current President Trump said, he said that war would be over with on the first day, right? And obviously that's not happening. I think it's more difficult than what we as Americans really perceive it to be, because it's a conflict that's all the way in Eastern Europe. It's very unfamiliar, I'd say, with most of us, right? All we know is that there's a conflict over there, and we don't really understand many of the reasons. So it is worrisome. I thought in the past I knew what maybe the outcome would be, but here it is, year 3, right? That war started in 2022. It's really crazy. On February 22nd, I believe, we'll make it 3 years that war's been going on.
Wow.
I think close to 500,000 to 1 million lives have been lost. Many people have been displaced. That country will take decades for Ukraine to be like rebuilt. That's the saddest part, is like it'll take forever. Maybe when we're really old, maybe that country will start to be okay again, just because of all the devastation and the destruction.
It is crazy because when it first started, nobody would have assumed it would take 3 years. They thought this would be over with in like 6 months,
Yeah.
or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people thought it'd be over in 6 months. Well, it's definitely been interesting to see how it's all played out up to this point. Now you have like North Korea being involved, supposedly, through reports. I thought that it would last maybe a little bit longer, only because most of Western Europe supports Ukraine heavily, right? And then the United States does under the previous administration as well. So I think as long as the U.S. and Western Europe is supplying like weapons, ammo, tanks, vehicles, jets to Ukraine, Ukraine's still going to flourish. But at the end of the day, though, and I've said this before, if you do the mathematics and demographics, if you calculate that into how many men of fighting age Russia has compared to Ukraine, Russia still has, like, I would say, still, 18 to 20 million men, where Ukraine, it's a population of 30 something million people. You have, like, at best now, 2 million, less than 2 million men of fighting age. So eventually there's going to come a time when you're not going to have enough men to field battalions, squadrons, against Russia. So then what's the answer then? I'm not sure. And then you also have many Americans that are displeased with how much money has been sent to Ukraine as well. Billions of dollars. That's money that could go to infrastructure, education, other things that many Americans are starting to understand now.
Yeah.
So in terms of popularity with support, that's also worth questioning as well. So what will be the outcome, and how long can the American public still support it without feeling that the end will be fruitless, right?
Yeah.
In some ways, they might fear that. So yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, I'm not extremely optimistic about that particular event. Yeah, Ramo, have you heard too much or not a whole lot about what's going on over there?
No, I'm actually updated. Like it's something that I've been looking into almost every day. Like there's live updates also, certain YouTube channels like it's called the military something channel. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. The military. I'll send you guys the link later. But there's also another funny name channel called the Weeaboo channel, something like that. So it gives you like live updates of the battles going on, like how the Russians are invading certain towns in Ukraine, how they're taking over certain cities, how they're encircling an entire town or city, or how they're trying to capture certain hills. So they really give you like a perspective of the battlefield, like, oh, it's essential for Russians to capture or Ukrainians to capture a certain hill, so they could gain a bigger insight, like or an overview of an entire region. So that kind of makes sense now. But yeah, it's just interesting. Not only that, but politically, this war is all over the place. Whether you like it or not, like you got a lot of brown people fighting in this war too. Like a lot of Colombians are signing up as mercenaries to fight for the Ukrainians, and I've noticed that. Well, I didn't notice it because again, you cannot listen to the media 100% because they might be lying or they have an agenda. But they're saying that they're not paying enough wages for the mercenaries. Like the mercenaries were promised a certain wage, and the Ukrainian government or the treasury of that government is not paying them enough. Like they're paying them shit. So a lot of people are just not. They don't want to sign up anymore. As for the Russian side, you do have surprisingly some Americans who have some ex veterans who have signed up on the Russian side as well as the Ukrainian side. So yeah, this war is all over the place. It's such a big mess. You have such a huge division among Americans as well.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of division between Americans.
Yeah,
And that's interesting. You bring up, yeah, Colombians, and there's also Brazilians as well that
yeah,
I've seen videos of fighting. Great. A lot of international mercenaries that are in these wars. Um, so yeah, it's an unfortunate event that's happening, and yeah, we'll
yeah,
just have to see how things go because yeah, there's I've seen videos of like what I just talked about. Ukraine doesn't have that many men, right? So when you have to implement a draft and essentially force men to go fight in the war, especially
yeah,
men that don't want to, you don't have a choice. This is for the country. Um, so it's very dark, right? It's sad to see. Um, and again, no end in sight. It seems. I want to say thank you to Victoria. Appreciate you saying this. Please bless it. Please press like.
thank you,
So yeah,
Victoria.
for those that are watching, yeah, press like if you're enjoying the video. You're definitely along with Turtle Island, and then yeah, she brought up a good point about something about the fires that I thought I had saw around here.
Oh, Greenland, that's a good one. I want to talk about that later. I mean, if you guys got time, Greenland, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
definitely. We can talk about Greenland
Yeah,
too. Yeah, that's also very interesting.
yeah,
Ramo is yeah. Before we get into Greenland, she brought up a good point. It's getting worse. Yeah, the Los Angeles wildfire fire, mass deportations, threatening Mexico, Greenland, Canada. Yeah, with the wildfire was really. I mean, I know California has had issues with wildfires in Los Angeles and whatnot. It was almost like a surprise. Like I didn't see that
yeah,
coming. It was just like it just came out of nowhere. But from what I've heard, the death toll has been low. I haven't heard of too many tragedies. I mean, obviously, it's terrible what's happening with the nature, the animals, infrastructure, all that's sad. And I hope that you know, it can end.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's unfortunate. That is one of the less how should I say, more sadder things about 2025. It is the wildfire.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ramo, yeah, you want to talk about Greenland? Yeah, that was really interesting. Like, how many presidents have we lived through that where they said they wanted the acquisition of different territories, right?
Yeah.
Of Greenland, of Canada, of the Panama Canal. That's
Yeah.
crazy, right? That's way
Yeah.
far down south. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
in the history of it, the United States was responsible for building that canal.
Yeah.
And we believe that we should be the ones in charge of it. And Trump brought up some reasons also as to why
Right.
that Americans should own that canal. But going to Greenland first, yeah, Ron, so yeah, what did you want to bring up about that? Because I know it's an overseas territory of Denmark,
Mhm.
very similar to what other European countries have as overseas territories, and I've seen
Right.
the people of Greenland push at least support for independence. So,
Yeah.
yeah, well, do you feel, Ramo? Are you on the side of you seeing it as a benefit as being a territory, or yeah, I'm curious what you think.
Yes, but not the reason that a lot of people might think that. Yeah. So let me just give a quick background. Greenland was first. It's part of the North American continent, first and foremost, right? And our people discovered it. The Inuit, or as people call them, the Eskimos, they settled there way before the Vikings did. And the Vikings, when they first came across Greenland, those were the first natives that they encountered, the Inuit, or as people call them, the Eskimos. Other than that, other than Greenland being part of the North American continent, when it became part of the Kingdom of Denmark, and Denmark still holds it as a protectorate or colony, they're not treated as well as back at the mainland in Denmark. If you look at certain articles, Denmark had this program with, it's the same thing as in Canada with taking away their babies and sending them to those boarding schools. I forgot the name of those schools, where they just try to quote unquote,
Assimilate.
yeah, assimilate the Indian. They have the same thing in Denmark where they have this criteria of a certain poverty line. They take away Inuit babies from their mothers and they have them raised by Danish citizens. So in that essence, I can see why Greenland wants independence, because hey, you're being governed for centuries. You're still a colony, so you're being governed by a monarch, or you're still being governed, and they're not treating you as fairly as back in the mainland in Europe. So I don't blame you if you want some independence. So for that reason, I think the United States might do a better job. Maybe not so much 100%, but at least we might do a better job than the Danish government would. And not only that, but Greenland is coming back into the hands of North America. It's not going to be under the rule of Europe like with the Kingdom of Denmark. So I think Denmark, and I think France also still have colonies, well, continental colonies on the mainland. Like France has a French Guyana in South America, but yeah, that's one less country that will have a territory in the North American continent.
Yeah, no, I can totally understand where you're coming from, Ron.
Yeah,
I think the U.S. would be able to provide many more benefits to Greenland than a small country like Denmark. Denmark, I think, has 10 million people. It's tiny, right? We can look on maps right now. Let me go and pull it up really quick,
yeah,
just so people kind of know, because I think most of the world probably does not know where not world, yeah, for the world.
yeah. Surprisingly,
Greenland
yeah,
is.
yeah.
So let me go ahead and share that really quick.
Can I just add one more thing
Sure,
about
yeah.
Greenland? So supposedly the reason why we want to get Greenland is because of the Arctic Ocean in the North Pole, and Russia is building military influence in that ocean. They're installing military bases over there, and of course, the United States being a world superpower, our government wants to establish influence in the Arctic Ocean as well. So seeing Russia and possibly China's looking into the Arctic Ocean as well. seeing those two countries accumulating power in that region or in that part of the world, which is the North Pole, even though you might not think it's important because it's just a wasteland of all snow, but it does have a lot of resources. If we stay behind, we might lose and we might stop being number one. So that's the other aspect of or the benefit of acquiring Greenland.
You make a great point, Ramo. Yeah, I'm glad we're in the position we're in this country. I think, sure, the U.S. isn't perfect. No country is perfect, but
Yeah,
I remain optimistic for this country's future. And I definitely see Greenland, if it were to become a territory of the U.S., there would be many benefits to that. Or if it was independent, but it was had strong connections to the United States.
of course.
I'm more than happy to go into that, but I do want to show where, kind of where we are on the map with Greenland. So let me go ahead and share that really quick here. And let's go ahead and look. So just so everyone knows, this is where Greenland is. It's huge, right? It's actually giant. And currently right now it's a territory of Denmark. You see Denmark? It's very tiny.
Yeah.
No offense to the country.
Tiny.
I mean, it looks beautiful where it's, I'm sure the people are nice. But I would say that if the people want independence, at least, then they should get it. The colonial times are over.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was going to make a community post about that because currently, right now, there's many overseas territories of European countries, obviously the U.S. as well.
Yeah.
But if there's a significant amount of people, so let's move over here. Where are we at? There's a country called New Caledonia. And something interesting about New Caledonia is that, you've got the indigenous people of this country, then you have, I believe, descendants of French settlers. So there's issues of back and forth with wanting independence or staying a part of France, right? It's an overseas French territory. There was a recent issue with voting and where the indigenous people of this territory did not feel that they were getting their fair end of being able to I think, I'm not sure what the exact issue was, but something with voting, and they wanted to be able to vote again, so they could possibly they could push for independence, right? But there was an issue with France and they weren't able to vote or something happened, but it erupted into protest and actually got violent.
Yeah.
It got so bad that they turned off the media. They turned off TikTok and other apps so you couldn't see what was going on. That's the truth. I'm not making up lies. That actually happened. You can look it up on Google. That's pretty crazy. And it's not talked about. See how it's silent? You don't hear too much about it, right? Because it's an ally of the United States. Of course, we're not going to say something bad about France. But at the end of the day, I believe that if a significant population, indigenous population of a territory wants independence, they're not getting it because the European country says so. Is that neocolonialism? I would say yes. I would say that is essentially post-colonialism. I would say if it's a significant amount of people that want to be a country, then let them be a country. I think it's the same with Greenland as well.
Yeah.
But of course, going back, and again, this is a part of North America. It's not of Europe. But you do make valid points, Ramo, about it being a territory of the United States, because right now, as we mentioned before, I don't see this getting any better. You've got the Arctic. Look at how big Russia is, right? It's quite huge. The frozen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. And I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, thanks. Sorry. So if we look at Russia, it's an Arctic power, right? And it's funny that you bring up China because they view themselves as a near Arctic state, but they're nowhere near the Arctic. So
Yeah.
we can maybe talk about that another time. I think that I don't want to go on a conspiracy theory, but there's a reason why they're saying that, and I'll leave it at that. I think that there's plans for something later on. They wouldn't say that for no reason. Anyway, so the northern part of this gigantic country, it's all frozen ice, right? Eventually, this ice, due to global warming and other things going on in the world, is going to melt. That's going to leave tons of ports being able to be built, new seaways for navigation and travel, right, from one place to the other. Russia currently, right now, has a lot of leeway in needing to transport goods from one area of the planet to the other because it's an Arctic power, right? We look at the United States, we have Alaska, right? It's over here. Having Greenland would put the United States in a better position, not just for trade, transportation, but also in case this issue here gets a little bit more dicey. So let's say we get into a hot war, right? God forbid. I believe Greenland would play an intricate part in ensuring that there would be more control if something were to happen, right? A conflict, right? Which we all hope doesn't happen. But I think I understand why the administration would want this territory, overseas territory, part of the United States. If it's to our benefit, then I understand. So yeah, it's I could totally see that, but also with China as well. China, something interesting about China is that they are sending many of their scientists, Arctic workers, if you will, up into Russia already to work on ports, navigation already. So in a way, it seems like China and Russia are sharing this area. I mean, there's more Chinese too. There's 1.5 billion Chinese, 1.4 billion, and there's like 100 million Russians. So in a way, it's like China and Russia's, Arctic navigational territory. It's where they can go wherever they want up here. Again, like I said, this is eventually going to get all, the ice is going to melt. Russia's going to have the advantage. Why shouldn't the United States also gain benefits as well from easier navigation for transportation of goods, military, et cetera, et cetera?
Yeah.
I hope I didn't go on some like wild tangent, but I think I explained my point for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and stop streaming. But yeah, guys, so did that kind of like make sense for the most part, what I said?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Juan, were you surprised how big that Greenland country?
I forgot that it was that big. Actually, I knew it was. I knew exactly where the positioning was, but I didn't remember that it was that huge. That was kind of insane to see.
Yes, massive.
Yeah, right. It's really big, and guess what? It only has like 50,000 people that live there.
Nothing, dude.
Holy, I didn't know that.
Like nothing.
Yeah,
Wow.
It's mostly a wasteland then, right? Mostly just ice.
It's mostly ice. The capital looks kind of cool. I mean, it would be kind of neat, right? Like, let's say 5 years from now we have kids and like, oh, look, like Greenland's like either if it's an own country, that's like another country that they would be able to like, they would be born into the current timeline of Greenland's a country. It's a giant place. If Greenland becomes country, it'd be like the 9th or 8th biggest country in the world. So that'd be kind of cool. But yes, it would be hard. I think it'd be somewhat hard to function as a country with such a small population. But you're not managing that much land because most of the land is frozen anyway. It's mostly the southern areas. But it would be good, I think. I would think it'd be good. Currently, right now in this geopolitical climate, like I said, it would benefit the United States if that were to happen. But I think that, if they want independence as a country, then that should be okay too. But
even better, if they were independent, I would love for that to happen. They were independent, actually.
Right? Yeah,
that's kind of wishful thinking.
Yeah, right. And I think the people of Greenland, if that's what they want, then they'd be happier too. Then definitely, I think that would work out for everybody.
But you know what would be even better? If our Inuit cousins would make more babies.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, definitely we could see the population of Greenland be bigger as well. So, yeah. And then obviously Canada, that's a whole different story in terms of Trump wanting to acquire Canada, right? That's pretty wild. That's Canada's a completely different place, you know. Now, actually, land size, if you look at Canada, they only have like 30 to 40 million people, and it's the second biggest country in the world. And most of the population lives within like a what, less than 1,000 mile radius, 50, no, not even 1,000, 500 mile radius of like New York City. It's all around like Toronto
Yeah.
or cities around Toronto. Like,
It's like a 6-hour drive. Yeah. From where I am.
yeah. So it's really not that. Yeah, it's not that different. It's unique. I've been to Canada a few times.
Yeah.
It's an interesting place, I will say.
I like it.
So yeah, I think the comments or people comment section. You guys all okay? There's a lot of comments. I appreciate you guys leaving comments. So thank you to those that have been leaving them. And again, if people that you're enjoying the conversation, seeing us talk, please leave a like, or if you think people would be interested, ask friends if they want to watch us. So yeah. So I think that we are living in really different times. So who knows how the life will go for us, but again, I think it'll go well. At least here in the US. So yeah, aside from that, from what our friend here said, Canada invasion, getting rid of the Department of Education and targeting Indigenous people. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that's all going to go in the future and like what's really going to happen. I know there was a certain leader of AIM. His name was, I had it pulled up. He was a native leader. His name was Leonard Peltier, and he was part of the AIM movement. And AIM was, I believe, was to seek justice for Indigenous nations in the United States. And he was in jail and he was released. So that was kind of interesting news to see, right? Because I didn't know of him beforehand. And I guess there's even the Pope believed that this this particular individual should have been freed and not been sent to jail, because he was in jail because there was a shootout between this man and like FBI agents, and he was recently released. So that's kind of interesting news to talk about as well, because he was a leader of AIM. And earlier in the podcast years, AIM was something that I was curious to learn about and learn about its history. So yeah, thank you. I think it was Kat Terrell that told me about that. So yeah, I think we talked a lot about like kind of what's going on in 2025. Kind of like move on. Juan, I was kind of interested in like, focusing on your TikTok journey, man, because you've made a lot of videos, man. You've made a lot of content. You have 11,000 subscribers. That's pretty good, in a short time period, man. So you must be really proud of how far you've been able to come in TikTok, man. So do you feel, are there any surprises that you encountered since becoming a TikTok content creator that you were like, oh, I didn't know that, I'd have to follow certain regulations, or I didn't think that being a TikTok creator might be sometimes a little bit hard in terms of producing content? Or are you like, when you were with me on YouTube, you and I were like going like 24/7 thinking of ideas, right? So was it very similar to you in TikTok as well? Like, okay, I got this, cool, put it on there, right? And you're only operating from a phone, so it's not too bad. Where it's like, when we, like I said, when you were with me, you were like, hey, Juan, let's think of this idea. What doesn't work? Screw it. So yeah.
I think it's it took an adjustment, because in a lot of ways, yeah, it's easier because you just get on the phone, you quickly run the video, and then you edit it. You can use CapCut, or you can edit within the TikTok software, so that's pretty quick, right? But if you want to grow, it was more technical, because like I had to learn that you have to post like usually 2 or 3 times a day. I don't always do it. I try to at least post once a day. I've been pretty disciplined with that, although sometimes like it kind of slips if life gets in the way or something happens, then it's like, hey. But that's what you need to grow constantly. Whereas on YouTube, you can go 7 days and not post, and it's fine, and then you do a whole video. So it's a little different. It's the long form content on YouTube, like the different beast than just the short form stuff. I try to copy the same thing onto YouTube Shorts, like because I'll post all my TikTok stuff onto YouTube Shorts, and I've been growing steadily because of YouTube Shorts, to be honest. But it's the same exact videos from TikTok. I just take them there. So I would say, yeah, it's just challenging in a different way because it's short form content. And then I think initially when I really was getting into TikTok, like at first, and I had switched from the YouTube stuff, like the long form content. I had to adjust and like wrapping shit up quicker and like getting directly to the point because like, you know, it's like a minute long or 2 minutes long. Maybe you don't want to like talk forever on there. So that's one thing I had to like quickly get more accustomed to is like just go directly to the point and talk about what it is that we need to talk about. And then that's it, you know, to try to have that like soundbite type of video. So that's been the thing, but it's been a lot of fun. It's really interactive. That's what I think. I haven't found anything like that at all. Cause I've been on several apps now. And I would say, because I was worried about the ban, like I said, it could always still happen. But I would say out of all the apps that could come close, it's still YouTube, but it's like YouTube Short specifically. The algorithm is decent, but it's not as rewarding as TikTok's. But I would recommend YouTube Shorts as the number 2 if TikTok is banned. And that's why I've been dumping everything I can. Every video I make, I just put on YouTube Shorts.
That's good, man. I'm glad that you've been doing really well. You know, I've seen, like I said, a lot of comments, positive comments about like your videos and whatnot, and they're funny sometimes too. So,
yeah, I'll go into a rage, like, dude. Oh, well, yeah, dude. Even the Tim Asana, dude. He hopped in my comment section one time on TikTok, dude.
I see him in here.
I was thinking about that one too.
Yeah, dude. I remember he was always on our nutsack, dude. In the past, you know, like he was. I remember like Tim Asana, dude. Like he made like fucking 11 accounts, and we like banned it back to back to back. Dude. He could be a little bitch, man. So yeah,
coming back for more.
Dude, yeah, did he even follow me to TikTok one time, dude? I was like, dude, didn't you like get banned 11 times on my old YouTube? And then like some people liked my comment because they saw it, dude.
Nice. Very cool. So, Juan, do you feel that, you know, one video, I'm going to make a video one day about China because someone asked me about it, my views on the country. I feel that we are entering, if we're not already in it, like a kind of a soft Cold War with a technological economic giant. And that would be China, right? I think that that's already here, and there's already too many competitions right now in terms of AI, many technology races right now where China is ahead, right? Do you feel that the ban was justified, or do you think that's like, hey, our information is already taken by, you know, the U.S. government, so what's it matter? And then also on top of that, if we're already allowed on Xiaohongshu, Little Red Book, right? Red Note, as they call it. What's the big deal unless they're going to ban that too? So,
I think that it was baloney, like the whole thing, like as far as like the reasoning they use, like national security, protect your data and all that shit, only because Facebook and Meta has sold our fucking data for fucking ever to everybody at the highest fucking bidder. So it's like, it's really hypocritical. And I think it's only born out of like insecurity on the US government's part and also like xenophobia, because it's like, oh, like, you know, it's Chinese people or it's Asian people that are, you know, they're succeeding and they're going past the US in certain ways. And it's like, maybe instead of taking the fucking easy route and wanting to ban something, how about you fucking get your engineers to make something better than TikTok? Why the fuck are we behind China in terms of the fucking algorithm? Like, why are all our apps complete dog shit and they can't replicate the same success you can have on TikTok? It's like, that's an issue that we should fix here and choose to endeavor to become better than China, not banning. Banning is just the easy fucking way out because you can't fucking compete, you know? So I was really upset with the whole rhetoric. And also because they never, in my opinion, I never really saw evidence presented that these data breaches were happening. It's just suppositions of like, oh, well, it must be happening. We're going to assume it's happening. It's like, actually present actual fucking data that this is happening that could actually convince the American people that, hey, we need to get rid of the app. But they never did that. And also I had heard that they had snuck the ban onto a humanitarian bill they like to string all this fucking bullshit on one bill that has nothing to do with the crucial issue, and they like to just slip it in, and then it just gets voted in. It's not like there was a debate massively on TikTok. It's not like that was the only issue, and that was the bill that was put forward, and then every single congressman agreed with it. It was just that it was just attached to something that already needed to pass. So it's like really sneaky and fucking slimy. So that's why I was really upset with the whole ban in general. But no, I think the ban is just a weak cop out from from a government that is fucking intimidated. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I like the US and everything, but I'm only talking shit because I call it how I see it. It's like they're just fucking intimidated that they're fucking behind, but maybe do something to fucking fix the issue then. Banning it's not gonna fix it. They only pissed off more of the population. Look at how many fucking people hopped on Xiaohongshu, like because they were just saying like, well, fuck you, bitch, and then I'm gonna go to this other Chinese app. Like they can ban it, sure. I mean, they may do that, but it's like clearly you pissed off that much of your population to where they said fuck you, and it's like that's not good.
Couldn't have said better myself, Juan. You bring up a valid point, Juan, which is that like, yeah, why can't we come up with like as good of apps, right?
Dude, yeah, dude, because Instagram Reel, like Meta, like Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels is complete ass, bro. Like I've posted a lot of my TikTok videos on there, the same thing, same format with the appropriate hashtags. And it is like pulling teeth to get a single fucking follower, bro. I mean, at least YouTube Shorts, like I get a steady stream, like I'll get a sub or two every day, or kind of like, so it kind of goes. TikTok, I mean, you can be nobody. You can have 0 followers, make a nice video, and then go get 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 followers. Like you never know. Like that's the thing. It's like, why can't Meta or any of these other shitty ass apps actually replicate the same thing? It's like, why are we behind?
Yeah. You bring up a good point. And now what I just heard in the news is that China created an AI app very similar to ChatGPT, but it's even better in some ways, and it's cheaper. So, yeah, we're in that technological, competition right now. And I think China is ahead in a lot of them.
Yeah. In a lot of ways it is. Also, like, one thing people were saying that was beneficial was when a lot of people were jumping on Xiaohongshu, like a lot of Americans were surprised to see how Chinese people live, which they live like lives like of sophistication, like they have a lot of style, like their cities are awesome, they're immaculate, like, they're extremely advanced, and people were like extremely surprised by that, by the prices that there are in China. So a lot of people had these assumptions of China that were completely erroneous, like painted negatively by the U.S. government the past couple of decades. And then they were shocked to see that China is like, in a lot of ways, it's even more advanced as far as the cities and infrastructure. And they're like, what the fuck? But they, both users, American and Chinese on the app, because I was seeing it, were saying like, oh my God, it's way better if both of our peoples actually interact and understand each other, because that fosters more likelihood of just keeping the peace versus like all this fucking nationalistic war baiting,
Yeah.
But that's another reason why I don't like that, the whole notion of banning, because it's like you're trying on purpose to separate swaths of people from the rest of the world. Like they were trying to separate all of Americans from the rest of the world, like from not being able to be on this app,
Plus, I think it's widely unpopular. Like, we're the U.S. Why are we banning an app?
Right. Yeah. It's just silly, man.
Yeah. Say no to censorship with apps. I mean, like that, right? And yeah.
I see Tim Austin crying, dude. I saw he left a little hate comment when I did the farewell video on my TikTok, and he was like, I wanted to be banned. He's just jealous, bro. He's just jealous. He got 0 followers on TikTok, dude.
Oh, it's coming for you. Yeah, definitely. I'm curious how the U.S. will be able to close this gap in terms of AI advancement. Applications like TikTok, Xiaohongshu. What's kind of crazy is that now there's a lot of Americans that are on Xiaohongshu, and they don't want to leave to go back onto TikTok. They like it on that app.
Oh, wow.
I was on there way before. I was one of the OG like foreigners that was getting on there. I mean, there's plenty of foreigners before me, but I got like 350 followers on there, so I keep posting like kind of daily on there. It's a fun app. It's really sophisticated. If you guys have downloaded the app Lemon 8, it's literally like Lemonade's kind of like a Walmart version, like great value version of Xiaohongshu because it's still not as refined as that app. But that app is very, very good. Like it's way better than Instagram is. You know, it's like a mixture of Instagram and Pinterest, but it's way superior to all the like if. That app beats out every single app except TikTok, in my opinion. Like even that app, like that just goes to show you how well structured those algorithms are from China.
You're referring to Xiaohongshu.
Yeah. Because I blew up on there like fucking. 350 followers is nice, but I mean, like if I had started an Instagram page like at the same time, I would not have anywhere near 350 followers. Fucking Instagram, it takes forever to grow, right?
No, it does.
So.
Yeah, it definitely does. So, yeah. Well, the question I have is, Trump managed to save TikTok for 90 days. There's already things going on about TikTok in terms of like, hey, now that the users have returned, something feels weird, right? Like I heard TikTok kind of feels a little bit different now, and there's certain things that you can't say on TikTok, or you get banned or something else, right? So
like what were these things, or do you know?
Things about Israel, things about Palestine.
Oh, like that stuff? Okay.
That's what I saw on X, right? So I'm going to go with that those pictures are 100%. The screenshots that I saw are 100% authentic. That being said, let's say that's true, that's kind of worrisome, right? Because that wasn't a problem before. There might have been some agreements that were made behind closed doors on keeping that app around. So again, after 90 days, don't know what's going to be the solution, because I thought that we banned it because the U.S. government wasn't able to own it. You know?
Yeah. Last I had heard, I had seen Trump say in some sort of rally or speech that he wanted the U.S. to own 50% of it. I don't know what that means. Like, it means like the government, or it means like a private entity. But I don't like TikTok has always been adamant that they would not sell for shit. So I don't know how successful he'll be. I mean, he's been dealing with the TikTok CEO, so maybe something could happen. My only concern is that if they did sell or they had a stake in it, is that going to affect the algorithm? You know, is the algorithm going to remain? Because if the algorithm is taken away from that app, it's going to be just as shitty as Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a great point, Juan. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Dude, you see Tim Awesome was going. He's going
Dude,
hard.
yeah. Dude, yeah, Tim Awesome, man. He's just obsessed with our nuts, man.
Yeah. Ramo, do you ever go on TikTok at all, or do you find the app interesting, or you just kind of like go see a video or two, or kind of busy with your own?
Nah, dude, I rarely go on my TikTok. Like I think I posted like just two posts. I'm barely on it.
That's fair. You can get addictive. So
No,
Yeah.
it is addictive.
It is.
I'll give you that. Like the few times I was on it, like I would like this was during COVID when all the gyms were just out. Like there were no gyms. I would go to the park, do calisthenics, and instead of working out, I would just be on TikTok, just scrolling, and like a whole hour passed by without me even noticing. I was like, oh wow.
Dude, yeah, it can get pretty bad. That's why I don't scroll on there, but especially because if they have like really controversial shit, or like I've seen this before where like they try to get everybody into they just push a lot of polarization. Like you'll see a lot of like political infighting and also a bunch of gender war bullshit on there all the time. Like,
Yeah.
dude, it'll just suck you in and you'll just be reading comments for like fucking forever, and then you'll get triggered at a video. Dude, that's why I stopped like getting on fucking TikTok. Like, I mean, I get on there only to post my videos, and then I'm like, all right, that's it, bitch, and then I get off there.
Yeah. You know what would be great? Like if TikTok had this, like if they updated like a certain timer. I don't know if it has it, but if they update a certain timer that tells like the user, I think you had enough screen time for one day. Take a break or something.
Take a break, like touch some grass. It'll say on there.
Yeah. Because YouTube does it to me. Like when I'm in over 2 hours, YouTube tells me to take a break. So that's something TikTok could do.
YouTube tells you to take a break?
I didn't know YouTube told you to take a break. That's
No, it happens to me a lot because I'm on YouTube a lot.
Oh, okay, that's where you're at. Yeah, dude.
I'm on YouTube a lot. Huh. I need that. Sorry, you gonna say something, Juan?
No, I kind of lost my train of thought. I was just agreeing with the whole TikTok thing. Really just will fool you in, dude. It's a trap, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I say that as a creator, you know. Obviously, I want you to watch my shit, but still, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Watch Juan's videos. Don't watch anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good, Juan. Like I said, you came a long way on your TikTok channel, and I'm sure it'll grow. And I'm sure it gets kind of addicting, man. When like even sometimes like I'd see like, oh, I'd see that you're really close to like 1,000 or 10,000. Like, oh, come on, just get to that, next mark and get to,
Dude, yeah, because like
goal.
10,000 is when you like become somebody on TikTok, like kind of because you can
Yeah.
start getting paid and you're in the creator fund. So like I remember I was like at 9,900 like 50 or something. I was like, what the fuck? I have no patience. So I went to a video and I like hit monetize and I paid like $15 and I got a bunch of followers up because it showed it to a bunch of people because it ran out of steam, but it put it back on their pages on new users. And that's how I got like just like 50 or something. But I was just only doing that because it's like once you hit the 10K, you get all these features. So I was like, dude, I'm so tired of waiting. And then I got at 11K kind of fast. It kind of just happened naturally. I feel like it gets easier once you pass like 10K to start gaining followers. Like Red Pill, for example, he's a TikToker. I know he blew up the fuck up. He has like 33,000 bitches following him.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, he's got a lot, bro.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good, man. Well, yeah, that was interesting to kind of talk about TikTok and like see how it will go. So I appreciate you guys talking about that. I think we kind of want to move on to the next thing, which kind of went with what we talked about in the beginning, which was like challenges ahead, right? Like internal issues. I think we can kind of just shorten this up to seeing like, you guys believe that there's going to be more, maybe this is a stupid question, but do you think that there's going to be a lot more political polarization now that Trump's here? Or do you see it like, do you think people will come together more? Or it's going to be a slow process? Or do you think like there's just going to be people out there like, no, we really shouldn't come together. I didn't like Trump and don't talk to me.
I think that it just depends, man. I mean, with all these executive orders Trump's been doing to like target like the Hispanic community, and all that kind of brutalization a little bit, like I think that's going to cause a lot of problems. I don't know if it's just, I'm hoping it's all just for show for his base. Like, oh, let me flex my power for like 100 days and make it seem like I'm really fucking some shit up here. And then I'm going to taper back. But it really just depends on that. Like, I don't know why he even signed the end birthright citizenship thing. That was like literally the stupidest thing I've ever seen. It's like blatantly unconstitutional, but I don't know if a lot of this is literally because he thinks it'll pass or because it's just for effect. Like, let me just do it to satisfy the most like, crazy lunatics that are part of my base, or I don't know what it is.
No, 100%. I agree with. Oh, I'm sorry, Marco. Were you gonna say something? I'm sorry, bro.
Oh no, you're good, Ramo. You can go first. I'll go after you.
No, I was just gonna say no. I 100% agree with Juan. Like it pretty much depends on what part of the country or the region you're in. So there might be like some parts of the country might be completely divided, while other parts people are like, meh, it's whatever. And other parts people can actually sit down and talk to each other on opposing sides. So going back to a couple of things that about earlier is that people have different realities. Everyone's reality is not going to be the same. So I'm pretty sure like in the South, people do experience racism. I'm not blind about it. I know what goes on in the South. I got family down there too. Of course, there's going to be more racism in the South. So I could see why a lot of people would vote for Kamala. Whereas in the North, it's, yeah, we're pretty liberal in the North, but you don't see as much racism over here. So you do have a lot of variety of different types of voters. You are going to have a lot of Trump voters here in the North as well, but they're not the type that will hate you or be racist. So yeah, again, like everybody's reality is different.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I would think that a New Yorker Trump supporter might be different from somebody down in Georgia or Alabama. So
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It is different because the United States is such a big, diverse place, right? So people have their different reasons for voting for which candidate, right? Whether that was for Trump or Kamala. But you bring up a good point, Juan. I don't see the birthright citizenship going too far. I think that every president's going to say something that's not popular to get that part of his base, like kind of like, oh yeah, definitely, let's go. I'm going to vote for you.
Yeah. I think it was just probably flexing power just to be like appease them or something, because that you can't change that type of shit. You would have to get Congress to literally change the amendment, and that would cause a whole bunch of issues, because a lot of like protective court rulings hinge on the, equal protection under the laws in the 14th Amendment, and also like the fact that you get citizenship if you're born in the country. So there's no way they could do it unless he had Congress do it. Or isn't there another way? Maybe if like the majority of the state legislatures together were to change them, I think that's another way you can change an amendment. But like, good luck getting any of that done in the present day.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's more so like, hey guys, thanks for voting for me. We'll touch on this one day. Every president's like that, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would say that him signing that one with the releasing the JFK files is very interesting, I would say, because as everyone knows, he was killed, and the documents of that event are kept hidden to the American public, right? Trump just signed off for that to be revealed. What's everything that happened? That could really. I heard something. I forgot who it was from. I think it was from one of the director of the CIA. I forgot his name. He didn't want those files to be revealed to the public because there could be some things that could come out that would really shake you. So that's crazy, right? So what is being hidden, right? I think most of the country, or most of the people 40 and up, 50 and up, believe that he was assassinated by the CIA, right?
Yeah.
But what were the reasons why? That's a part that I think is kept hidden for some, reasons we don't know why. So yeah, I think that'll be pretty crazy when we find out.
Going against the interest of I don't want to get too much into conspiracy, but going against the interest of the military-industrial complex. I mean, that's definitely one. From what I've read, he wanted peace with the Soviet Union and other communist nations. He wanted to extend a hand. Okay, hey, listen, let's stop the Cold War where like tensions are high. It could we could break out, we could bring out the atomic bombs at any moment. Let's just chill, relax, and let's have a sit down. But I'm pretty sure a lot of politicians or even military officials like generals didn't like the idea because they profit off of war. That's the primary reason I can think of as to why he was assassinated. But again, it might be a conspiracy theory, but it's one that I would believe in.
Yeah, definitely. The military-industrial complex is there's a lot of bad things that have happened because of the military-industrial complex, and so much money that has gone to that off the backs and lives of innocent people from around the world, right? And we could get into that in terms of like what's happened in the Middle East to ensure that the military-industrial complex stays the way it is. But maybe we can talk about that another day.
Yeah.
So I could go on and on about that. But yeah, so I think that, I think tensions are probably a little bit high right now. Like there was a significant part of the population that didn't vote for Trump, right? So, but I would say that it's important to come together. I literally just said that I'm not really too positive on what's going to happen with Ukraine and Russia, right? So I think that if times get a little bit more difficult, which I'm afraid that they will, we need to come together in a lot of ways, because we might need each other more than we think we will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramo. Yeah, like I said, the future outside of the U.S. in particular areas is unknown. So it's good to stick together in some ways, right? And come to understand our differences. Because yeah. Aside from that, though, I think we're at an hour, and I did want to cap it at somewhere around an hour, but I think the last part was kind of just more so going about like advice to, young men, young women, but yet just like young men and like where the future kind of leads for us, like in 2025, right? Do you guys feel that it's a pretty positive outlook for men of younger generations that are trying to go out there and be a better person in the world, or you think that there's a lot of like distractions? There's a lot of things that can keep you off the path of success, whether if that's like what we see in the media, what we see on TV, videos on social media. Do you think it's harder, or do you guys think that it's in some ways it's easier? I guess whoever wanted to go first. So maybe Ramo, you look like you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say Arab American can take it first.
Okay. Oh, me take it first. I think that I think in some ways things are easier because you have like all this information at your fingertips, and you have a lot of, if you're strategic and you have that kind of mindset, you can come out ahead in any way you can. Especially with like AI. I use like AI for everything, like ChatGPT for like literally everything. Although I will say you can use it in really strategic ways to further your goals, and to just save yourself time in a lot of manners. But I'd say in other ways, people are struggling, but I feel like it's because of like everything that happened with COVID, as far as like socialization. It seems to like have destabilized a lot of things, socially speaking, for like younger people, especially like younger men, like when it comes to like, I just see constantly a lot of people like bemoaning like the dating stuff and all that other stuff. But I feel like that's just because of the COVID thing that kind of messed things up a little bit. And then it's like people just need to, prioritize getting out there a little bit more. And also like there seems to have been a decrease of like communal spaces of like society to kind of come together and mingle. And I think that's also hurt things in that aspect. But I don't think it's as bleak as some people make it out to be. I feel like there are solutions that can be implemented, or I feel like there can be shifts, but that's just the number one thing I keep seeing with that kind of thing.
I was going to ask you, Juan, do you feel that we didn't really talk about Elon Musk, but do you feel that Elon Musk really pushes like, hey, have kids, have a family? Do you think that in this current time right now, that's more easier said than done for people in their 20s?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like it's really hard to get a house right now. There's not a lot of supply. And then the costs have just risen exponentially. I mean, I was fortunate enough to get a house at 23, but since I've had it now for 4 years, it is more than doubled in value. And so a lot of my friends don't have houses, and it's like, it's even harder now for them to get it. It was already hard 4 years ago, and now it's twice as hard, right? So it's like, if you can't even get a house and you're struggling to even meet that first step, like having a kid is like a daunting task for a lot of people. Some people like are afraid because of the rising costs of rent. It just keeps going up and up. Like I remember a couple years ago, rent for a single bedroom around here might have been like $800 here in Huntsville, and now you're spending about $1,100. So I mean, I know that's low for some other people's areas, but I'm saying like here they're feeling the pressure, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that, that the housing market and just houses today is just so expensive. Like, if you go on one of the resale websites, like, I don't know, what's it called? It starts with like a Z. I forgot what it's called, but like just for houses and whatnot. I know it's California, but I've seen like small houses around like Los Angeles and Los Angeles in particular.
Yeah.
That look like they'd be around 80,000 to 100,000, but they're like close to $1 million.
Yeah, oh God, dude, it's fucking crazy.
Well, same here in New York. It's the same bullshit. Yeah.
It's so bad, dude. And the interest rates are absolutely atrocious. Like it's like 6%. When I had my house 4 years ago, it was 2.99. That's what I got. I got an amazing interest rate, but now they're over 6%, dude. So they're really fucking you.
Yeah.
Wait, how much is the rent over there where you live?
I think for a single bedroom, 1,000, 1,100. around
How
there.
about like a whole apartment? How much would that be on average, would you think?
Like 2 bedroom, like 14, 15.
Oh my God, that's a blessing. Well,
I mean,
for
yeah,
me,
from your perspective of New York, but around here, it's like they're getting dicked down, dude. You know,
what the heck
like
am I doing over here, dude? I should move down there with you.
dude, just move down here, bro. Like, if you had some money saved up too, like a lot of the houses
Yeah,
around here, like, I mean, yes, they went up, but like a lot of them are like 200,000, three
yeah,
hundred thousand. Like, they're not that bad. Some of them you'll even get for 150,000. You know, so like, you
yeah,
know, hey, it might be worth it. That's another reason why I haven't like moved out of here, is because like everywhere else fucking is more expensive. Like, that'd be absolutely
yeah,
dumb. You know, like that'd be, I mean, unless I had a really good reason to move to another US state, but I mean, that's why I've stayed here, and it's developed more because Huntsville's been developing a lot more, and so that's why the
yeah.
property values are increasing. So the more it develops, the more
Right,
this shit's gonna increase where I'm at right now.
right. Lucky, dude. You got in at a good time in the real estate market. Good for you.
Yeah. And I got a big ass yard. A lot of the newer houses they have here in Huntsville, Madison, like the city, is like they got a small ass little yard, dude. Like the houses are like a bunch right next together. But my
Yeah,
house is like 0.6 acres. So a
yeah.
little over half an acre, but it's like a lot of space, bro. And then like the street divides my house from all the other houses. It's kind of funny. Like a little island, you know?
That's
Nice.
amazing.
Yeah, I know Alabama is like a popular state for people to move to. I heard like the
It's
housing.
also, I don't know why, but Huntsville was ranked as like, well, the past 2 or 3 years, it was ranked like #1 place to live, or #2 or 3. Is in the top 5 for sure. Like like it kind of fell in the rankings the last year or so, but
Yeah,
that's why there's been a lot of people moving here, like specifically from California or all these other places. So
Yeah, I know Texas was a popular place to move to as well, but so many people from California have moved there that
yeah.
now it's like expensive.
I heard a
Dallas.
lot of people, like, it shot up the prices, but a lot of people from California moved to Nashville. That's why that shit got more expensive.
oh no, Nashville.
Yeah, dude, it got a lot more expensive in Nashville, is what I heard.
Yeah, it's where all we're going to meet up at too.
Right?
Dude, yeah, we should go party it up in Nashville, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
but I like Juan's positive outlook on your question. Actually, what you were saying about the future for young men. I like his positive outlook. It's amazing. I'm half and half about it. It just depends on the government giving men or women to incentive to create babies, because going back to what Elon Musk said, what you mentioned about Elon Musk, everybody should have kids. Yeah. Aside from the housing market, there's not too much incentive going on for making babies right now. A lot of people, especially men, don't see the benefit in that. Like, for example, I don't want to go off on a big tangent, but
Okay.
all these divorce laws that are going on, that, oh, once a man gets divorced from his wife, the wife gets almost about 50% of their net worth. Like what happened with Jeff Bezos a while back when he divorced Mackenzie. Mackenzie got $60 billion off of that divorce, and she just became the richest woman on the planet. That was like the most expensive divorce in history. And okay, I can understand if she got scot free with a couple of billion, but 60 billion is a lot. Unless she really partnered up with Bezos and worked with him for the company, or with Bezos to expand the company Amazon, I don't think she deserves, or she's entitled to, that vast amount of money. And it goes for just any couple out there. If your wife actually helped you out build a company, then by all means, that she is entitled to some amount of cash once you guys get divorced. But you got these crazy laws going on right now that, oh, it doesn't matter if she contributed or not, she still gets some amount of cash from you. I mean, isn't that what child support should be? Like, shouldn't they deduct some of your wages to help improve your child's lifestyle, or to feed your kid, or to clothe them, or put them in a good school? I mean, but that's just my take on it. So they're not giving too much incentive for us to get married or have kids with, or settle down.
Yeah, especially with all the economic pressure too on top of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's just a huge risk, man. At this point, also, yeah, even with the divorce rates, like they're really high as well. You know, it's kind of an issue.
Forgot what that thing's called when you want to like sign up for before you if you're afraid that a divorce might come, you're preparing for it. I forget what
Prenup.
it's called.
Yeah,
Prenup.
prenup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a good idea if you have assets. I think that if I was in that position here in the near future, I would get one of those, considering I have assets.
Yeah. But how do you bring that up though? Like, like let's say you're dating somebody, and then all of a sudden, like before you propose to her, you're like, hey, listen, yeah, so you know what? I wanted to do a prenup with you just in case. Like, is there some sort of yeah?
You don't trust me?
Maybe if you wanted to like kind of soften the blow, you could just be like, you know what, like it'll be a clause in there, like if we stay married more than like 5 years, then this goes away or some shit like that. You know, because I think most marriages end before the 5 year mark, right? So if you get past the 5 year mark, like it's way less likely. So maybe you could put like a time clause in there and just be like, hey, look, you know, it's just to make sure or whatever. I don't know, dude. It's a tough conversation. I can't even come up. You know, I'd have to carefully craft like something on the fly to like be able to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not something I can even come up right here on the live stream. I'd have to like think about it and write it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, man. Like it's hard when Elon says that, like, yes, have kids, have babies. Okay, cool. Thanks, man. But
sure, if he's putting the bill,
like,
absolutely. I'll have like 30,000 if he foots bill.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
well,
that's
Bezos,
great for you, buddy. You got billions. You got billions to feed 20 kids, 20 of your babies. But well, what about the rest of us?
What about the rest of us, dude? Unless he wants to pay for all the free lunches, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I just read it. I forgot from where, like half Americans or a quarter of them don't even have 1,000 in savings.
Yeah.
That's
that's
really bad. It's really sad. Like, how can you? Yeah, just
not like, and not even to get too much into this part, but I'll just throw it out there. Like, I've also seen this on social media. I don't know how big of an issue it is because sometimes social media makes something small a lot more magnified when it's not that huge of an issue because you got like these fringe groups online that are like, you know, hateful and like they're attacking each other. But one thing I've seen is like because of the progress that socially speaking that women have had, like immense progress, which is great. There has not been like tempered expectations and despite that. So like a lot of the times, like they want the guy to make more money, be more successful. But then it's like, when you look at averages, like that doesn't work in an average case basis. Like, and there's been kind of a return to like traditional mindset in some ways where they're like, well, I want a provider man, but you know, I'm highly successful myself. But then it's like, okay, but if the average dude is only like the per capita income for the average for the entire US by the census is about $42,000. There's no fucking way a guy is going to be able to support a family on fucking $42,000. So it's like that. Look at how averages work. If that's the majority of the people making that money, they can't give you what you're asking for. So if like a bunch of y'all are asking for that shit, it's never going to happen. So it's like, you know, you got to look at it kind of logically and adjust your expectations to the economic realities, you know? But anyways, I feel like a lot of people, you know, there's also that disconnect and that's not helping shit either.
Yeah.
no, yeah, you're right, man. The disconnect you mentioned as well, and also like you just said, per capita like $42,000.
That's the per capita.
Nice
dude.
job, but sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's a per capita. A lot of people like they'll, because I've noticed this online, they'll go look at the average household income and they'll be like, yeah, that's the average. And it's like, hey, look at the word household. That usually implies 2 fucking people. You got to look at per capita, and it's like way fucking low. I was surprised it was that low. I was like, holy shit, 43. But then I was like, no, that makes sense. Like for basically almost everybody. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, right. And then you like find a job like, oh, it pays 80 grand. That's nice. 10 years of experience. Nope. Gotta go work that job that pays 40 grand.
Yeah, dude. I mean, dude, I can't imagine 40 grand like in all the other states. Like 40 grand in Alabama, that's decent. Like, you know, you ain't gonna be living like a king, but it's decent in Alabama. But like fucking if 40 grand and like I'm sure Ramo 40 grand in New York's fucking nothing. You're like poor as fuck.
No, bro, I'd be starving out here.
Yeah, that's what I
living off
thought.
McDonald's. Or in Illinois too.
Yeah.
Well, McDonald's, but like, yeah, 40,000.
Damn, well, you went straight from McDonald's.
No offense to anyone at McDonald's.
No, it's like I used to work at a fast food when I was in college.
Oh, you did? You worked in fast food?
I
Okay.
did as well, but not like traditional. It was like a tropical smoothie cafe, so I made like smoothies
wow.
and shit. Yeah, I did that
Cool.
shit. Like,
Popeyes for me.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice. I didn't. Yeah, I can honestly say I never did, but I did do
Lucky.
retail. I was working at Kmart, my first job. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Kmart, okay. It's kind of
Yelled
interesting
at.
hearing y'all's like first initial jobs. It was like not shit you would ever suspect now, right? This is
No.
kind of crazy. It's kind of
No,
funny
yeah.
hearing it.
It helped me out though, man, because like I was a quiet kid. Like if you met me when I was like 18 years old, and someone told me I was going to run a podcast and do this, I would probably be like, "What?" But so working at Kmart really helped me speak with others. Worked on my communication, really improved my speech and everything with other people, because I was like a cashier for about a month.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to talk as a cashier. So that really helped me, like talk with others a lot better. And then obviously fast forward to today, like I've went through a lot in my life in terms of my communication with others. So yeah, it's interesting where we start out at, right? Whether if that's fast food, working at Kmart. I remember my first day too. And I was pushing carts, and this bird like was flying above me and pooped on my shoulder. I was like, oh, what a terrible
Holy
first
shit,
day
dude.
to my job.
Dude, I thought that shit only happened in movies then.
Oh, it happened to me.
Yeah.
Freaking messed up Kmart though. I think they're all gone now. But yeah, going back like to Jeff Bezos, like his wife after that divorce, she got tons of money, millions and millions of dollars. And she gave it all like one university.
Billion, bro. 60 billion.
$60 billion.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with all
insane.
that? Yeah.
She gave away so much of it, which
Yeah.
I commend, but wow. Yeah, so definitely I think divorce. Like I feel like the dating life back in like the 50s and 60s, despite technological gaps, seemed easier. Would you guys say that like influencers online have more of a positive or negative effect on younger generations, being especially young men, being able to not only maintain relationships but move forward in terms of making more progress into like marriage? Do you see it as more like a negative currently right now with the cultural values in society for all Americans, or do you think it's like kind of 50-50?
I think maybe it leans more negative only because I just see so many creators on both sides that feed into delusions, and like you got like really extreme red pill and black pill guys on the male side, and then you got like really hardcore pink pill that even some girls have started calling that pink pill, where it's like it's just absolutely ridiculous some of the things that they'll say, and I think that just leads to more polarization, and then it just makes the whole dating landscape even more hell. Also, but another thing is like the average person, like the normal person in real life, doesn't have these extreme red pill or pink pill views. It's just that you see this blown up on fucking social media because that's what it always drives the algorithms, you know? So, so that's what I've noticed. Like on TikTok, like maybe you'll see a really hardcore pink pill type of video and it has like 100,000 like likes and like 10,000 comments, and all these women are like saying shit like I hate all men and all this stuff. And then you'll also see the type of red pill shit that's kind of similar on the other vein, and it'll also have a shit ton of attention. But honestly, while it may seem like a lot because you're like, oh, holy shit, 100,000 likes. I mean, relative to the whole population, it's really small. And like your average fucking person walking on the street does not think like that at all. But the algorithm and the way social media works and these influencers, it will fool you into thinking that the reality is like what's shown right there in that fucking video. And that's not the actual reality.
Yep. Could have said it better. Yeah. By the way, first time I'm hearing of this pink pill. I'm going to look into it.
Hey, some girls have started calling it pink pill. I mean, you pretty much just call it pink pill. Like, I mean, I don't know if if the content creators themselves call it that. I think it's more so like people roasting on it, calling it like that's what it basically is. But you might as well just call it fucking pink pill, bro. That's what it is.
I know there's a blue pill, a black pill, a white pill, and a brown pill.
What the fuck are all those? I only know black and red, bro. I mean, I knew there was like some of those things.
And a purple.
The purple.
The purple
I don't even know what.
It's basically a hybrid between red and blue pill, purple.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Green pill, turquoise pill.
Dude, all these pills,
I haven't heard of those yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're around.
Yeah. Let's see.
Wow.
Because we're living in a degenerate internet, we're living in degenerate users with their BS pills by spoon-fed innocent
Outside
people,
of
topsy-turvy.
as far as
Huh?
the influencer stuff, I was gonna say like outside of the dating stuff, I think it's positive because there's a lot of people that can make real money. Like I started making a little bit of cash, but just for fucking content, and it's like you can make some money for just some fucking videos, like. And it's almost like stocks because like I have some old videos, like for example, like a DNA video I put out like well over a month ago, and it still gets views on TikToks and it still generates me some cents every single day. And I'm like, holy shit, I didn't do like,
Good.
because either way I'm going to make the videos. So the way I see it is like, I'm getting paid to do fucking nothing, so because they're already out there. So that's what's useful. And because you can go so viral on a lot of these social media platforms like TikTok, now the average person kind of has the ability to make a lot of passive type of income. I feel like that's beneficial, like for the influencer stuff. If you're going to make content, that's a benefit. But for the dating thing, I don't think it's beneficial. But for like, money making, it is beneficial. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I personally believe that with the current direction in society and what we see is in terms of what we see, you would view as normal, which is actually not normal, I think, to us older generations. I don't think it's the best direction. I think that there do need to be changes in terms of how people should conduct themselves in society, whether if that's like through attitude, your interaction with others. I think there could be changes. I'm not saying that we're doomed. That younger generations are doomed, but I think that right now it's not a great direction. I could go into that in terms of just like how the current culture for young Americans. I just think that there could be better influencers out there to lead people in, not saying all influencers, obviously, but like certain ones that have like large followings, right? I think that there could be better people out there.
It depends on who you watch. But you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, Ramo. Yeah, I agree. It depends on who you watch.
Like if you watch a character constantly, like a certain character, of course you're gonna get influenced by that person. Like, and you're gonna end up becoming or imitating that person. You're gonna become radical or extreme.
Dude, yeah. Like sure. I've also, tell me if you guys have experienced this. I don't think this is just a me thing. But also like I've noticed this with Reddit. Like sometimes if you go to certain subreddits, and you'll see a bunch of negative shit. So like for example, I see a lot of guys like they'll bemoan the fact that like, oh, like the male loneliness epidemic and all this other shit. Like I have a vibrant social life. I go on dates pretty regularly. I have a lot of fun, things like that. But me reading the stuff like in the moment makes me feel fucking depressed, dude. Like after like 5 minutes, and then I'm like, oh shit, let me fucking like not read this shit because it'll affect you subconsciously. I don't know if you guys have like experienced that yourself. Like you yourself don't have any problems, but you're reading this other person's problem, and then it's like it starts making your day sour just reading the shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I've had not too much. I think that for me, so my brain acts weird, but I can't say it affects me too much. There's other things that I would say that maybe not so much social media. You know what's really weird? I will say that like sometimes like maybe if I'm thinking about something depressing, right, or like sad, and like I'll go on Facebook, which I'm hardly ever on that much, and then I'll see like an image of what I was thinking, and then it's on like some Facebook ad. I'm like, oh, that's weird, right? Yeah. Like if I'm thinking about something in regards to like something sad about parent life, right? And then I'll scroll through Facebook, I'll see something that is also showing that image of like two parents, like distraught parents or something. So it's very weird how the algorithm works. I'm starting to think that that there is something that we don't know in terms of how the American population is under some sort of like observation through methods unknown, but it's clear that we see it through the algorithm. For example, I'm thinking about something. Why is that on an advertisement? Why am I seeing that? Like, I don't know. I think it's kind of strange and
Yeah.
intrusive. But yeah, maybe we'll find out more about that. But yeah, it's been an hour 25, and
Yeah.
I think we'll just leave the comments for if anyone had any questions. We can leave it on for like maybe a minute or two, and then we can close this off. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on, wanting to talk. It's been fun. It's been fun talking about
Definitely.
this. It was
Thanks,
good.
bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, wait, before you finish, can I just say something? Well, after you finish your sentence, I would like to say something before we leave. Oh, no, I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
after you finish your sentence, sorry to cut you off, bro.
Oh no, you're good. No, I was just going to say to the guest, anyone that's watching, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Sure, we'll have a small after party. Why not? I'll throw the link in there. We can like talk it up for like a little bit after the stream for a few minutes. And yeah, I'm done. Yeah, sure, man. Please, if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so real quick, it's kind of it's kind of a situation going on. So I would like to make a comparison. Centuries ago, you would have Mongols in the Mongol army who would be of different uh, philosophies, different religions. You would have Muslim Mongols, you would have Christian Mongols, you would have Buddhist Mongols. Some of the Mongols were divided in philosophy as well. Some of them were Taoist, and others were Confucian, right? So the Mongol army was pretty much divided, whether it was religious or philosophical point of views, right? But nowhere at camp or when they were camping out before they were sieging the city were they enemies amongst each other. They would tell each other, "Hey, I'm gonna stop talking to you because of your different religious or political or philosophical beliefs. No, you're effing marching tomorrow morning. You're gonna siege that Chinese kingdom for Genghis Khan, or you're gonna die." Well, not to go to the extreme today, and this isn't directed towards anybody in particular. I feel like I should be saying this because it's been going on constantly. This isn't towards one person. It's just been something that's been going on lately to me a lot. And it's got to stop. Like, okay, we should not stop talking to other people just because they voted for a different political candidate or they think differently than you, because the dimensions or people's reality again are different from yours. Not everybody's going to share the same reality or the same point of view. So that's all I got to say. We should stick together. Like, we should put our race above political or religious point of views. And it's not that simple for you to say, oh, one political party is better than the other, or that's the best choice for all of us. No, it doesn't work like that. Everybody, even amongst our own race, we have our own agendas too. So
Yeah,
that's all I got to say.
Thank you for sharing that. Sorry, you can say something else, Ramo.
No, I'm finished.
No, I appreciate you sharing that, Ramo. Yeah, that's a great point that you just said. Is that like referring back to the Mongols, right? And then like they had different philosophies, different faiths, and whatnot. But you know what? They stuck together because especially during that time period, very precarious times where you never knew what the future would be, right? And that was a dangerous world, right? That was a dog eat dog world back then.
Yeah.
And I believe that, as I mentioned earlier, there's unknown events that could go out of control, right? Like what I mentioned with Ukraine. So I think it's important to, despite our differences, we should come together, right? Because you never know when you're going to need each other, and life can get difficult at times. And just setting aside, learning to set aside differences and listening to others, I think when you do that, then better times can come, right? Because you'll know that you have each other's backs, or that, you're together, and better things can be accomplished when you work together and you realize that yes, we have differences, but we can still accomplish great things together as people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you, Ramo. But Juan, do you want to add anything else?
No, I agree with what Ramo said. So, and it's been good being back on here.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was good to have you on. Um, but yeah, aside from that, again, thank you guys very much for coming on. We can maybe chat it up for a little bit after, but I will end this stream now. So thank you guests for commenting. If you guys like the video, please like. If you're new, why not subscribe? And aside from that, I think I will go ahead and end this. So again, thank you all. And we're going to say good night or good morning. And thanks, Kat. All right. See you later.